Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, good day. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Well, let's take a look. Current blood sugar is at 9.2. Went from 5, then bounced up, and have come back down. My basal rate was pretty well constant most of the night, except for this little patch where I dropped. But it was all pretty constant. My average sugar, not my average sugar, sorry. My basal rates have kicked in again, starting with, let's just take one here. The last one I had was a unit and 35. So, just over a unit, just under a unit. Just seems to keep me in check. Oops, sorry. Time and range? 97% time and range. 2% was above 10, which I gotta keep that in check today. 97% time and range. 1% 3.9. Oops, sorry, let's get back. Average sugar is sitting at 7.2. So all in all, pretty damn good day. Today, I want to discuss multiple daily injections. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll get going in this. Okay, let's get something straight. If some of you have been watching this video for a long period of time, you know I have an insulin pump. This was not the way I controlled diabetes for years. When I first got diabetes, I took an insulin shot once a day. It had an intermediate insulin and it had a shot, like it had a short-acting shot. And that was how I controlled it. But back then, there really wasn't any control. To be perfectly frank, you did urine tests, and those give you way off readings some of the time. But that one shot a day turned into 2. And I can remember saying to my doctor at the time, oh, does that mean my diabetes is getting worse? And he said, no, it actually gives better control. So I graduated to 2 shots. And then that graduated to 4. Multiple daily injections. Well, I swear by the pump for my control. It may not work for everyone else. I know a person who has had sort of a negative start once with the pump and returned it because he feels he gets good control with multiple daily injections. And now his doctor has started to make inroads to say, you know, I think the insulin pump will be the better treatment. Again, it's not saying your diabetes is getting worse. It's what treatment works the best for you. In British Columbia now, you don't have to worry about financing the pump or the tubing, or not tubing, the supplies, let's call it, because that is covered by pharmacare. So we've come a long way. So in BC, province of British Columbia, the insulin pumps are covered. Might be the same right across the board. I can remember for years, insulin pumps were only covered for those 18 years or under. And people who turned 19 were suddenly at a loss because their insulin tubing and all that wasn't covered. They had the pump but couldn't supply the. That's all gone. So financial concerns in BC and for most of the Canadian provinces are covered because it's not your fault you got type 1 diabetes. Come on. So, does that mean multiple daily injections is something that we don't talk about ever again? Ooh. First of all, when you're diagnosed, I strongly believe, I am not a doctor, so my personal feelings don't play a part. But if you're diagnosed, I believe you should go through doing your needle shots, testing your blood, eating proper diets, just so you know how everything works. And the best tool to do that is learning by doing. That's the only way I really learned. It took me a while to learn how to give a shot. And now I can do it without my eyes. I can do it in the dark. I don't suggest you do it in the dark, but I can do it in the dark. Yeah, aren't we all wonderful? But multiple daily injections can be a route that a lot of people decide to take, and it can work for them. If you're able to get very tight control with syringe and insulin, all the power to you. I wasn't that lucky. And thinking about sometimes when, I pull my needle out or something goes wrong with the pump, I think back, oh, how easy it was just to take a shot. But then I think, well, when I had the shot, I would have to eat. Once the insulin is in your system, whether it's the pump or through multiple daily injections, once you give yourself the insulin, you have to eat. Pure and simple. If you don't, you're going to end up unconscious or going low and feeling like crap. I can remember when I was low, years ago, when I was feeling low, I wouldn't feel that great. Sorry, I'm going to have to move the bed up a bit. There. It looked like I was forcing my head up all the time. Now, again, is it cheaper? Well, syringes are relatively inexpensive. If you have to go to a pharmacy that isn't your own, that you haven't developed a rapport with over the years, going in and saying, "Can I have needles and syringes?" was always a problem for me because I'd be traveling around the province of Western Canada and you'd go in and say, "Can I have syringes and needles?" And you go through all the questions. Uh, what do you need it for? Are you truly a diabetic or are you using it for other practices? No, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I take this much insulin. I get questions like, "So if you don't take your insulin, what's going to happen to you?" And if you screwed up any sort of the answer, you'd have to go find another because they wouldn't sell you. Now, in BC anyway, there's safe shooting. We use the short term is safe shooting galleries where people who take drugs will go and they'll get a clean needle and stuff to give the drugs. Diabetics using needles, it's cheaper. You still have to pay the deductible on your needles. Fair Pharmacare BC covers an awful lot of it, but there's still maybe outlying expenses. Besides the pump, you have to get the supplies. Besides the supplies, you're going to have to get batteries. You're going to have to get battery not for only for the pump, but also to charge the little transmitter. Sensors is an extra charge. You can work well having your insulin pump without the sensors. Sensors are a little bit more problematic to get in BC. I was one of the first, if not the first, in BC to get the sensors paid for by the provincial government. I kind of hope I opened the door for many other people. And the sensors were thought of as an accessory to the pump. It's not an accessory when you need it to live. Having vital information about blood sugars. It's a fancy glucometer is what it is. And we won on that point. So keeping things in line and in order can help the diabetic. It's doing a hell of a lot for me. Insulin injections for me caused my blood sugars to do wild and weird things. It didn't work out great. But that doesn't mean it can't work great for you. I'm doing my view, but that doesn't mean it has to be your view. For some people who don't want to work the pump, that's great. If you're having complications and need tighter control blood sugars, this pump can work for you. It's a save all. Shots, if you have that much time and that tight control, go for it. Utilize it. But if your doctor suggests the pump, you seriously have to look into it. There's a pump book, I think it's Just Pumping, which talks about insulin pumps and all sorts of treatments. And I believe it's been updated. You can look for it on Amazon. Actually, let's just see right here. Where is it? There it is. I'm just going to type it in here. and see where we go. Sorry, here. Just pumping is a sort of a text for you to learn. Sorry, I should have done that off camera before. But if needles, syringes, and everything along that line works for you and you're getting great blood sugars, awesome. But if you're just getting good and you really should work on trying to get better blood sugars, maybe the pump is something you need to look at. There's nothing wrong with getting tight control, no matter how you do it within doctor's guidelines to go with it. Discuss your treatment plans with your doctor and see what he or she says and suggests for you. The important thing is for you. Have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me